So in one of my first videos, I talk about year planning, so forecasting for a whole school year using the school calendar and the actual calendar of the year, and planning out when those big units or modules will be done, and then starting to look back and think about the smaller subunits of those larger units or those modules of that big unit. Um, and then breaking down how many days you think it's going to take. And one of those questions I think a lot of new educators go, how do you know how long it's going to take to teach a certain standard or outcome? Well, you look at it and you think, okay, so I'm a constructivist. I always think I have one day as my engage or introductory day. So I do one day for that. Then I look at the actual standard or objective, and I think, okay, what kind of activities do I want to do to make sure that all learners get this information? So maybe it's looking at this one with robotics, and I'm going to say the components are going to take one day. Learning how to code and program, that's going to take a day or two because they're going to have some instruction, trial and error. There's going to be some troubleshooting, that kind of stuff at the end of the unit. And then if I'm giving them time to create their own designs or programs, that's another day or so. So that's why this is like a week-long course. It's going to take time for them to do that. So the first day we spend time learning about components. In the afternoon, they're starting to build and play around and do some things. Then they go into the next day building and designing. And then by the end of the week, they're creating their own designs and programming robots. So that's how you start thinking it out. You want to build it out and think about it in that way. So looking at the objective or the standard, breaking it down and saying, okay, I need a day just to introduce this, depending on your class length, depending on how often you see those kids on that unit. That's how you start breaking it down. And so it's really no rocket like science. There's no expert way to do it, but it's looking at those objectives and then looking at how much time you have throughout the year and figuring out how you're going to get that done in the time that you have, giving an introductory day, some time for the meet, figuring out the different ways that you're going to get the students to interact with that objective, to learn and master that objective, and then to evaluate and then move on to the next lesson or unit.